Mission Better Tomorrow. Extraordinary situations demand extraordinary solutions. For the last 15 years, Mission Better Tomorrow, or MBT, has been doing it. Constantly and continuously engaging with society and coming up with out-of-the-box solutions to pressing social problems. MBT is a collective of committed professionals united by the passion to create a better tomorrow by consciously investing in today. Together, they have been developing an army of capable, caring, and responsible young change leaders working towards the creation of peaceful, productive, and progressive societies. MBT derives its conceptual basis from Mahatma Gandhi's doctrine of trusteeship. If I gain a fair amount of wealth, either by way of legacy or by means of trade and industry, I must know that all the wealth does not belong to me. What belongs to me is only the right to an honorable livelihood, a return for labor and care, no better than that enjoyed by millions of others. The rest belongs to the community and must be used for the welfare of the society. MBT is constantly inspired by the thought leadership of Mr. P. Vijayan IPS. From a child laborer in paddy fields and construction sites and a self-taught school dropout, Mr. Vijayan traveled a long way till he reached the prestigious Indian Police Service. Mr. Vijayan is the brain behind many nationally acclaimed policing and community initiatives. He is the winner of the CNN IBM Indian of the Year in 2014 and the Indian President's Police Medal for Meritorious Service in 2016. MBT has its roots in various philanthropic activities initiated in 2006. These include Operation Candlelight, MBT Learning Centers, SEEP, and Project Hope. And yes, when the nation went into lockdown during the pandemic, MBT rose to the occasion and took up programs spreading positivity and exploring possibilities of human resilience. MBT's initiatives like Feed a Stomach program, drug banks, Pravasi Help Desk, and Break Chain, Make Change campaign captured the public imagination in no time. As part of reaching out to the people locked up due to lockdown, MBT launched the Post Talk series. Post stands for Positivity and Possibilities, the very lifeline of human existence. Since then, the program has gathered a huge viewership from across the world. In our 46 episodes, nearly 100 speakers who have etched their marks in professional excellence addressed the MBT audience. Figures show that on average, the Post Talk held on Fridays Indian time at 7 p.m. reached 3 million people every week. The overwhelming success of Friday Talks prompted MBT to launch the global section of Post.
Good evening. I'm Saif from Mission Better Tomorrow, and welcome to the 5th episode of Post Global Talk Series. Mission Better Tomorrow, as you all know, is an attempt to create better tomorrows by consciously investing in our todays. With this sole purpose, for the last 15 years, we have been working on various projects and initiatives to invest in the care, protection, and development of our children, and thereby strengthening the demography of India. Inspired by the success and impact of MBT ventures, like-minded people and agencies from around the globe have united under MBT to work in close harmony. Postpose is one of the most successful initiatives of Mission Better Tomorrow. It is to spread positivity and help people explore possibilities, especially around the globe. Have united under MBT. We are extremely happy that we are able to continuously do this most successful initiatives. Distinguished speakers from different walks of life and hundreds and thousands help people explore possibilities, especially with around 77 continuous regional episodes. We are extremely global episodes that we are able to continuously do this, and hundreds and thousands of live speakers every week. Walks of the journey of and hundreds and thousands of this evening is very special with around 77 continuous regional episodes. 4 global special guests, around 100 eminent speakers as a speaker, and hundreds and thousands of live audiences, social entrepreneur, the journey of economists, and civil society leader is very who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for every audience for founding the Grameen Bank. We have a very special and pioneer in the concept of microcredit, speaker of microfinance, global Professor Mohammed Yunus, social entrepreneur. He is often referred as the world's civil society leader who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for founding the Grameen Bank and pioneer in the concepts of microcredit and microfinance, Professor Mohammed Yunus. He is often referred as the world's banker to the poor. The success of Professor Yunus and his initiatives has been an inspiration for many countries. He needs no introduction. Sir, with great respect, let me welcome you to this program, sir. We also have...
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining, sir. We also have Sri P. Vijayan IPS with us this evening. His words and actions have been the constant inspiration for him, for MBT. He'll be speaking a few words to introduce the topic for this evening. Welcome, sir. Let me also welcome my team members and the post-post audience who have joined this evening from different parts of the world. We already have hundreds of people on Zoom and the number is piling up. And this episode is also live streamed on around 50,000 Facebook pages, YouTube and other social media platforms. As we are aware, the world is reeling under a severe second wave of COVID-19. And many nations are struggling to cope with the rising numbers. Huge number of our fellow human beings are under extreme stress and suffering. Disturbing images of overcrowded hospitals, testing centers, and cremation grounds are making headlines every day. The world is not going to be the same even after post-COVID. And our topic for this evening is managing lives in the new normal, no going back. So stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy this evening with Post-Post. And now let me invite my friend and colleague, Mr. Anand Haridas, to take this show forward. Over to you, Anand. Thank you.
Good evening, all. As Saif has rightly said, we are at the threshold of a landmark episode of Post-Post. For the last 52 episodes, we have been spreading positivity and exploring possibilities. And this is definitely one of the high notes we can touch. To elaborate upon the subject we have today, let me invite P. Vijayan IPS, Inspector General of Police, whose thought leadership is constant inspiration for all of us at the Mission Better Tomorrow. Sir, Vijayan sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anand. Thank you so much, Professor Mohammed Yunus, sir, for joining in this evening and addressing us once again. Thank you so much. Very good evening to one and all from our constant companions throughout our journey. This is something very, very, very important topic, which all of us are very much concerned about, or all of us are undergoing. There is no doubt that this situation may be very bad or worse, but we can't go back. We can't go back in history. We can't go back in biologically also. So how we'll manage the lives in this new normal? That's a serious concern. Our own life and the fellow beings' lives also. How we'll manage it's a serious concern. I think it is almost 17 months we have passed after this COVID-19 coronavirus reported in Wuhan in China. But it is the virus is getting sharper and more stronger in coming days. It's UK variants, South African variants, or then there is a triple mutation taking place in India. That's when we thought that is the last year. We thought that is once this vaccine is invented, our problem will be over. But there is a lot of solace that we could different types of different vaccines could be invented during this period, and several people have been administered, but the threat is not yet been vanished from our side, and it has actually has been affecting this human lives, the different aspects of human lives. Basically, the first and foremost thing is that the very existence, that's the livelihood, especially those. Those lives, those people's life, the foundation is it has been founded on their daily wage earnings. And if they are not getting daily wage earnings, they'll be absolutely in misery or the poverty. Such people have been worstly affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. And many migrant laborers have been thrown out of, means have been denied of job, or they have gone back and they are living in absolute difficulty. And this several jobs has been lost. That is the present day. That is the work and workplace culture. We will say that it was, that is the work from home has become a really great invention or advantage of COVID-19 period. But for whom this facility is there? For the this common man, whether this is a luxury, whether they can work from home and get their earnings, it's a very difficult thing. The other important aspect is that the human interactions, we have been denied of the human interactions. So such interactions have often been psychological boost, but now it's led to the serious psychological problem, especially for the children and the elders. The health of our elders have been getting deteriorated because they have been totally isolated from these interactions with the rest of the world. The education, we say that is the online education has become the order of the day, but it's a fact that in developing countries, less than 20-25% of the people may be having access to the good quality internet connectivity and good gadgets also. And those who are having the good gadgets, those children who are they are not having much attention span, they are also suffering from this COVID-19. It's education. This education will be one of the area which will be worstly affected by the COVID-19. And several children, especially children from remote areas, coastal areas, tribal areas, and will be really been thrown out of this system, education system. And beside the social gatherings, the religious congregation also been either controlled or banned. So it is actually affecting the psychological elevations and solace of the people. So in many ways, the scenario is not very conducive or hopeful, but still we cannot go back. Here, this is the challenges is that we are fighting a new battle. It's a twin battle. It's one side we have to stay alive, other side we have to earn our livelihood, or we have to fight against the hunger. So here there is two viruses there. So which virus is more important? It depends upon your financial and social condition, whether the coronavirus or the hunger virus. Already there are several people actually before this pre-COVID period itself that is Professor Yunus Sir will be is the crusader against the poverty. He will be explaining all these things, but you know that several hundred people already, a million people were already outside this, means struggling for their livelihood. Such situation, for them, the hunger virus will be the more important. For them, this social distancing will be a really luxury. And here another paradox is that we have to fight an invisible, very strong enemy. At the same time, we have to stay alone and keep a distance from the society. It is really a big challenge. How we'll fight against an invisible, mightier enemy, at the same time keep ourselves alone from all these things. Social gatherings or keeping social distances. Here, another thing is that the COVID pandemic has created a huge financial requirements, and for the state and the nation, for the nation and the states and these individuals. At the same time, that is, it has really affected, crippled the income generation also. The generation, that's the Economic Act has been always during the lockdown period, it has been completely stalled. Now it has been regulated, so the income generation possibilities it's also been curtailed actually seriously. And there is already existing inequality. It is going to be highly widened, and that is the injustice, especially among the vulnerable sections of society. And there is a reports that is the violence against women and children has gone in multiple times. That's a serious concern. And in the same way, that is the marginalized section of society also be denied of justice, and the injustice will be widening during this period. So here, this opportunity when we cannot, that is, we have to be hopeful, we have to be positive. We say that we propagate that we are positive enough. There will be possibilities too. But here, so we have to highly rely upon the very human spirit. When we go back to the history, especially those people who have taken birth in the first and second decades of 20th century. they have undergone at least 2 world war and 1 great economic depression. Still, the world has come out of all these struggles like a phoenix. So that is, we should also come out. But the very thing is that we are highly dependent upon the very essentiality of our human spirit. And one good opportunity is that is now we could distinguish between we could really realize that is what is our essential, what is not so essential, what is our greed and what is our need. This has been really been made ourselves convinced by this COVID-19 pandemics. We say that is our health is the most important thing, that is if health is lost, everything is lost. That has been really understood during this period. And then there is another interesting thing has happened is that there is some sort of a global unity, human unity has been taken place, especially in the fight against the COVID. And so all the nations, one way or other, are engaged in inventing a proper and effective virus, vaccine against this virus. And then in sharing of the vaccines or this PPE kits or like the health equipments and all, there have been a better cooperation. This is now it has been proved that it is possible. A better human cooperation is possible globally. And this, I think that we can extend to other major concerns of the globe, like that other major concerns of the world. Anand, can you hear me? Hello? Oh. Other major concerns of the world, that is that is the global warming and etc. So it has been proved that it is possible. So here there is another opportunity is that we have been always complaining against everything. We focus always on externalities. Externalities means that is something beyond and above us. So now it has been proved that it has been given an opportunity for our to look back and to look inside and find our that is more of a that is an inner self-introspection or self-reflection. The COVID-19 pandemic has given an immense opportunity for a self-reflection. So we hope that this will come up as a better human being in future. So here is that the set which we are supposed to follow this period. So actually there should be a better collaboration in designing policy solutions, local and it should be more localized solutions may be required. At the same time, we may require a more national way, international way, designing the solutions. The solutions should be mostly on a collaboration basis. The stakeholders has to be more taken to consideration. So while preparing any solutions. And one fact is that we must appreciate that everyone is a leader. We all are a leader. So we must behave more responsibly. At least we should not endanger the lives of other people by our reckless behavior. At the same time, we should struggle ourselves to come out of this pandemic, and we should not entirely fall upon the state or other things. And we should play our own role also in coming out of this pandemic. And then another thing is that the refining the mindset. The mindset, those who are in the power, those the people living on the ground. So we all have to change our mindset. If we follow the pre-COVID mindset and try to come out of the COVID-19, it will not be so feasible and may not be very successful. So it's an opportunity we should strategically redefine our mindset. And finally, that is, it should be considered as a new normal, as an opportunity to create a better tomorrow, which is devoid of all the problems of the pre-COVID period. That's inequality, poverty, and miseries of the people, and to create a better human interactions and better world too. Here, there is we all know that the story of eagle. When the all birds flee from the storm, eagle, the king of birds, fly into it and use the storm to rise higher. Let us use it as an opportunity to lift ourselves and to lift the world to a better place to live, to our children and to ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I hope each one of us on the Zoom platform here and all those who are watching this too spend time in the social media channels of Mission Better Tomorrow, find the eagle in them and use the storm around us to rise higher and higher. Without further delay, let me move to the keynote address. Before I welcome Professor Muhammad Yunus, Nobel laureate, let us watch a short film that our creative team has made on Professor Yunus.
Mission Better Tomorrow, inspiring positivity and exploring possibilities. When faced with the harsh realities of poverty and begging around him, Professor Muhammad Yunus did not retract to save songs. He ventured out and searched for a solution. When the Great Famine struck Bangladesh in 1974, this professor of economics at the University of Chittagong did not turn his face away. He responded. By 2006, the world recognized his effort by presenting him and his Grameen Bank with the Nobel Peace Prize and many other prestigious awards like World Food Prize, Independence Day Award, which is Bangladesh's highest civilian award, King Hussein Foundation Award from Jordan, and Franklin D. Roosevelt Award. His concept of microcredit changed the world's fight against poverty. He taught the world that credit is the fundamental human right. Mission Better Tomorrow is proud to welcome the banker to the poor, Professor Muhammad Yunus, to address the 5th episode of Post Global Talk series and speak about managing lives in the new normal, no going back. Sir, we are honored by your participation in our show. Welcome, Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Once again, sir, a hearty welcome. It is indeed a great honor to host you in the 5th episode of Post Global Talk. So we are waiting for your words of wisdom on today's topic, managing lives in the new normal, no going back. Sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted to be with you today. It's wonderful to see you all on the screen. I didn't realize that so many people participate in this series of your lectures. I'm very happy to be this evening sharing my worries and my thoughts, which are not different than what you have. We just mentioned, Vijayan has been explaining what he was thinking. It's about the same way. The pandemic has shaken everybody all around the world. It's not something hit in this particular spot of the world. It's a global thing, global attack of the virus from everywhere around the world. And it's been reacted in different ways. And that's one of the weaknesses that we saw in the whole system as we came. We didn't fight it in a global way. We fought it in a very regional, in a very tribal way. Each one is trying to protect his or her people, wherever they are. So that was one very, very significant weakness that we have demonstrated in this whole episode of pandemic. And even when it came to vaccine, we have shown the same kind of reaction. We have been talking about vaccine apartheid. So we are all trying to put their vaccine for their own use rather than share in a bigger way, the bigger global community and so on. And then at the same time, this vaccine has become a very ugly symbol of what we have been living through, our selfishness, as we have seen, the very basis of our civilization. It's a greed, is a cornerstone of the civilization, and came out very, very strongly around the vaccine. That's why it became known as vaccine apartheid. And also, it is some way I can describe by saying billions of people are drowning because of the pandemic. Their life is at stake. Any moment they will disappear. And that's what the situation is. Some people came up with boats and telling everybody who was sinking, I have a space for you in the boat. but I can give it to only the highest bidder. So come up with your money and get a place here. So that's a greed in an extreme form. You cannot care less where people are dying or not. You want to make money, enormous amount of money, taking advantage of that. So it became an ugly paradigm of profit versus life. It's not just simple profit, it's a very super profit and all that. And that shows up very well because top vaccine companies, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer together, these three companies will be declaring $60 billion in dividends within a week. So you can imagine they are celebrating where people are dying. They're celebrating their extreme profitability of their business and so on. And we have been campaigning all along, right from the beginning of the pandemic, to make the vaccine. At that time, vaccine was not developed yet. So when the vaccine will come, it should be a people's vaccine. It should be a common good. It should be patent-free product. There should not be any commercial ownership of vaccine. And we took this idea from Jonas Salk, polio vaccine inventor. He made it very clear that although he invented it, he didn't want to have the ownership of this vaccine. He said it belongs to people. It's a people's vaccine. It's like a sunshine. Nobody should own sunshine. Sunshine is for everybody. So that's the idea we are promoting. We said this immediately, we should declare it as a common good, as a patent-free good. But that's not what happened. They're clinging to it. They're making sure that they make the maximum profit. And thanks to India and South Africa and 100 other countries tried to promote it for at least giving temporary patent, removal of patent for temporarily in the WTO meeting. Of course, rich countries gathered together to make sure this resolution didn't get through. So we couldn't do that. So we are appealing to world leaders again and again to make sure the vaccine can be made patent-free. If it is patent-free, then all countries can produce it. And there are lots of capacities. India has lots of capacities to produce vaccines, but they cannot use it because of the patent right. And in Bangladesh, it's capacity to produce vaccines, but they cannot use it. Similarly, many other countries, South Africa and many other countries, Brazil, vaccines should be produced in a distributive way, so all the world can have access to vaccines. Today, only rich countries monopolizing the vaccine rather than vaccine for everybody else. So that shows an extreme greed coming, defying the moral values, defying everything that the world has stood for, stand for, at least we thought it stood for, and has shown how ugly this civilization has turned into. And they are taking pride in doing so rather than making a difference in that. So this is one of the lessons that we have learned. This pandemic has shaken up everything that we believed in, everything that we stood for. And we don't know where to go. And at the same time, while we are puzzled by and completely disorganized for our next step, because there is no leadership, there is no combined way of fighting this virus. There is no, you notice there is no global plan for vaccine production. There is no global plan for vaccine distribution. It's all left to 3 or 4 companies who will decide where to give, how to give, and so on and so forth, not anybody else. So that's where we are learning where we go wrong. At this situation, also governments are trying their best to get this engine of the economy get started again, because the engine has stopped. It doesn't function anymore. So they want to pour in all kinds of stimulus to get the engine running. And you will be hearing about stimulus packages every other day in the newspaper, how much money is committed to make sure this economy goes back to pre-pandemic situation. They see pre-pandemic situation as the ideal of their life. And that kind of burns me up to see pre-pandemic world as a kind of ideal world. It was a terrible world, to say it at the least. It was a terrible world who is about to end our life on this planet. And that's the world. And we were rushing towards our disaster. That's the world the pre-pandemic world was. And I see no reason why we should go back to that pre-pandemic world. That's the world of global warming. We're still struggling about it. And it was at the peak of global warming at the pre-pandemic time. And we are as if riding a fast train to go to the last station of extinction. And that's where we're moving with the global warming. And I keep saying that this is a suicidal path. So we shouldn't be rushing to go back to the suicidal path with the full speed of the engine. We should be now thinking differently. And our first decision should be no going back. We don't want to go back to the pre-pandemic situation. Pandemic, after all the damages, all the terrible things that it has done to us, the human beings and other, it has also given us a tremendous opportunity to reflect and rethink and redesign everything that we did in the past, so that we can now that we got off the train because of the pandemic, and the train has stopped. Now we can get off the train, and once we get off the train, we have a choice to go back to the train and go back to the same suicidal path, or the same way of doing it, to build a new train to take us to a new destination, which will not be a suicidal path, which will be a path of life and happiness for all humanity. Not only pandemic was, before the pandemic was rushing to the global warming and destroying ourselves, and we have been defined, I kept saying that we appear in the scene as one of the most endangered species in the world because of the global pandemic, because of the global warming and the pandemic, the threatened species on this planet right now. Not only we are a threatened species by ourselves, we also got into a civilization where we make other species endangered species. We are not only satisfied in destroying ourselves, along with it, we destroy everybody else. Global warming goes along with the plastics. Another aspect of it, plastic is coming up. And they're telling again and again, by 2050, you make your goals of 2050. By 2050, there'll be more plastic in the ocean all over the world than the fish. So more plastic than the fish. This is the direction we are going. And we don't care. We don't talk about plastic. This is almost as if it's some NGO activity on the sideline. The fact that we are rushing to our death by throwing plastics all around the world and making all other species disappear because of the plastic. And the final one was us to be the one to commit our final act of extinction. And this is the direction we're going. So we said, we don't want to go back. No going back is our decision. Let's find a new destination, new path. I said, if you go on the old path with the old road will always take us to the old destination. It will not take us anywhere else. An old destination, the destination of extinction. So if we want to go to a new destination, we have to build new roads, new path. This is the occasion to do that. So where do we begin? We have to revisit everything that we have done. This is an occasion to reflect. It's not about saying that how to get out of it. Getting out is one thing. Getting out and go back is one thing. But now that we have the pause, now that we have the chance to redesign and shape it in a different direction, that's the direction that we want to go. Like, for example, the reason we don't want to go back, that machine was creating something else. Not only global warming, is also creating extreme wealth concentration. All the wealth of the world is concentrated in few hands. If you look at India, same thing. All the wealth of India is concentrated in absolutely few hands. You can count in your fingers. And this is what it is. And this is how it's going on. And we have been talking, and you have mentioned in your presentation about how many people are pushed down and the poverty as the pandemic came. Yes, they did. Normally, before the pandemic, if you take the people, if you make a map of the income and people, the daily income. If you put the daily income of $5.50, half the population of the entire world was under that line, $5.50, half the population. Then you have the $2.50 and so on, which will be the poverty line, halfway. So you have, if you go halfway down, you have the poverty line. And then you gradually go to the people who are below $2.50 and below $1, closer to $0. And that's where most of the people are located. That's funny. Most of the people on the planet is on this range, $5.50 to $0. This is where all, and what pandemic has done, they press them down further. So the people who are in the $5.50 level and half the population underneath, now that line probably goes to the $4 line. Under $4, probably now the half the population is under $4. Those who are at $2.50 at the poverty line, they are pressed down below the poverty line. And people who are above the zero line, they are pushed down the zero line. This is what has been done. So what happens to the top? These are the bulk of the population. If it is $5.50 we are talking about, by $10, by $20, you have almost 90% of the population of the entire world. Amazing, isn't it? By $100, you got almost 99% of the population of the entire world. Where is the wealth then? These people don't have any wealth. Wealth is way above in the scale, at the top, in the hands of few people. During the pandemic, just come to the pandemic time, just 1 year, all these people, $5.50 and below people, they lost their income, they lost their opportunities, they lost their businesses, they lost their food on the table, everything. And they all went down. What happened to the rich people? The billionaires of the world during this period had gained more than $5 trillion of extra wealth, $5 trillion of extra wealth during the same period. It's amazing. Well, 99% of the people are losing income, losing everything, this became destitute. You have been talking about it all the time and showing what a terrible thing pandemic has done. Same time, the people who are on the top, they made billions of dollars. And the figure is $5 trillion additional income that they have made during this period. So this is the kind of thing. How many new people got rich in this category because of this? Again, come to the vaccine part. The vaccine, they are declaring $26 billion dividend this week. And at the same time, you'll hear many of the CEOs of the vaccine companies became the first time in their life billionaires because of this. So vaccine has created new billionaires. Not only the CEOs, also the people who own the shares of these companies, they became new billionaires. So people are dying on one side. And for the same reason, people are making themselves in the club of billionaires and so on. And they're enjoying it. They're very happy about it. This is the success of the capitalism and all that. Who, if you want, that is the capitalism that you want, go ahead, that's your choice. But this is not my choice. I would be liking to go to a different direction. I said, if we take the people and the wealth, we have a very strange situation. All the people in the world are pressed underneath at the bottom of the scale, $5.50 and so on. That's where they are. And the wealth is way above. And the 99% of the wealth is there with less than 1% of the population at the top. And it's not, it's always widening, it's going up. The wealth is moving away from people. So I thought, what kind of a strange machine, that economic machine we have, where aggregate is a built-in process and it gets wider and wider. I said the true machine that we will be building after the pandemic or during the pandemic to get out, a new machine, which will bring the wealth closer to people, and the wealth and people will live together, not separated it out. That's not the purpose of that machine. But we created the wrong machine and keep on applauding that machine as if that is the machine. We can create a new machine completely. Machine is just, the economic machine is just like a software. You build the software you want to achieve. That's what we need to do. So this is where we are. This is the direction that we have to go. So this is the aspect that you look for, how to make that happen, that create a new world completely. And I try to define that new world in my own way, what the new world should be. You need an imagination of a new world before you can go there. Without imagination, without specification, and even in imagination, you cannot head for something. So I defined that a world of 3 zeros, to make it simple. I said that will be a world that we would like to create, a world of 3 zeros. First zero, zero net carbon emission. We don't want any global warming anymore. Zero net carbon emission. That is something that we have to establish. While we're talking about it, here, the fossil fuel is increasing. Fossil fuel contributes 84% of the global warming. And that fossil fuel keeps on increasing. Trillions of dollars are invested every year. And in the meantime, we are raising slogans, having summits, having conferences, and so on. Nothing stopped. Process didn't stop. So this is what the world of global warming is all about. So we have to make a decision that we are not going to do that. We don't want those fossil fuel which contributes to 84% of the global warming. We don't want the plastic which takes up entire ocean away from us, from the fish and so on. We have to revise our own position. Where do we stand? What do we want to do? It's our decision, individual's decision. Government decision is one thing, individual decision one thing. I'm contributing to the global warming. I'm using this fossil fuel which they bring. I'm using the plastic that they use. So it's my decision. It's not, we are always blaming the government. Why blame the government? Well, we merrily do it all the time. So once we make up our mind, that's why I say we make our mind, no going back. We have to redesign our thinking process. We have to redesign our education process. Education is the guilty party. That's where all this thought is pushed into the brains of our young people. Unless we redesign our education system, we cannot create this new world. In order to build the new roads to get to the new world, we have to redesign the education to make it happen. So this is the challenge for all of us, to make that 3-0, zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment. These are the 3 zeros we'll be heading for. So we look forward to it. I hope we can make it happen. Thank you very much. I'll stop here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. From the kid who listened wide-eyed to his father's advice that learning from the world is the greatest learning, sir, you have come a long way. As you have rightly said today, we have stepped out of the destructive path we were on in the pre-pandemic era, and now it is time for us to set out the vision for a new world. Your keynote address today is another gem of a talk, which I'm sure will go a long way in inspiring all of us to face the new normal. Now let's take questions from across the world. Here we have a surprise for you, sir. The question is from, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible? So let's go to the question answer session, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, the first question is from Farial Khan. She's an architect from Dhaka and now currently based out of Bahrain. Ms. Khan, are you online?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Professor.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. It's so nice to have you with us, and I cannot stop the temptation to speak a little bit in Bengali to greet you.
Go ahead.
Okay, Professor, আমাদের এখানে অনেক বাংলাদেশি হয়তোবা জয়েন করেছেন বা লাইভে আছেন, তাদের সবার কাছ থেকে আপনাকে শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি। আমরা অনেক গর্বিত এবং খুশি আপনাকে আমাদের মাঝে পেয়ে।
ধন্যবাদ আপনার কথা শুনে।
আমার একটি প্রশ্ন আছে। I have one question, but I would like to say it in Bengali and then in English. The question is, ইউটোপিয়া, স্বপ্ন রাজ্য বা কল্পনা রাজ্য এমন একটি কাল্পনিক সমাজের কথা বলে যে সমাজে সবাই অনেক সুখে শান্তিতে থাকতে পারে। তা আপনি যদি এমন একটি সুযোগ পান, এমন একটি কাল্পনিক সমাজ তৈরি করতে, তাহলে তার রূপ কেমন হবে? So let me say it in English, so for the entire audience, that utopia refers to a society where every person leads a perfect, content and happy life. If you could create a utopia, what would it look like? The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be quick on this one. I'll mention that I always struggle with this idea that economists promote, that human beings are driven by self-interest. So in order to achieve that self-interest, they put profit maximization in the core of the business. That's what, and that made the whole world a selfish world, a very greedy world. So one that I would like to do is define human being as not only someone driven by self-interest, but he's mostly driven by collective interest. That's what he enjoys or she enjoys being so. So that's the kind of world will be where a human being will be driven mostly by collective interest. And instead of profit maximizing businesses, there'll be lots of what we call social business, non-dividend companies to solve human problems and with equal enthusiasm for solving problems of the world, and that they will take pleasure. And I keep reminding that these are the people who will enjoy saying that making money may be happiness, but making other people happy is a super happiness. So they will grow up with that feeling that making other people happy is a super happiness. They'll be looking for that super happiness all their life. That's where the education system will be doing that. And I encourage imagination for young people at the school level and all the way. You must have the imagination, like you said, utopia. So you have to create an imagination of the world that you want to build, because we are the builders of the world. We are not just the passengers on this planet.
Yeah.
We are the technicians, we are the navigators, we are the architects of this world. So we grow up as architects, not as a passenger. Today we are told that you're a passenger, you have to take a job. Job is a passenger job. I don't have anything to do. They're running it. I only do the little things in there when I come on. I said, job is absolutely the wrong idea. All human beings born as entrepreneurs, but our education system told them, get a job, get your education, get a good degree so that you get a good job. As if job is the ultimate of human being. Job is not the ultimate of human being. Ultimate of human being is to bring out his or her own creativity and contribute to the world, designing the world of the future. And that's the ultimate of the world. That's why you need that imagination, power of imagination. And I want to emphasize by saying imagination by itself is a power. If you imagine, it will happen. If you don't imagine, it will never happen. So in that utopia, I will emphasize the imagination part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we have a question from Sri Lanka. Abdul Qadir Ahmad Rifkan has been working in the development practice, including peace building mission, gender mainstreaming, and civic voter awareness program. Rifkan, are you online?
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam. It's a great privilege to talk to you, sir. And thank you, Mission Better Tomorrow, to organize this wonderful and incredible event. So, yes, sir. So I'm imagining a world devoid of fear, hunger, and sickness. And also, on the other hand, I'm also thinking to reaching out or achieving quality of life and standard of life of people. So in that imagination in my mind, I would like to ask a question, sir. What's the new forms and channels and also social impact of microcredit in the post-pandemic world?
One thing, it's not only post-pandemic world, the whole financial system has to be changed entirely, because financial system is responsible for creating all the wealth concentration that we are talking about is because of the financial system. Financial system is designed with one objective: the more you have, the more we give. And that's what the financing is done. So if you want to move up, you continue to get fed by banking system to go up and up. So that this is not one who is neglected, ignored. He's no worse than what anybody else. He's as good as you, but bank has ignored it. So that's why we designed the new banking, non-microcredit and so on, lending money to the extreme poor, particularly focusing on women, illiterate women in the villages and so on and so forth. And it worked. Still, it didn't change any of the banking system. So now it's saying that the whole banking system has to be dismantled totally. Redesign the banking system so that it's not biased to the top. So all those I was mentioning previously, saying that fossil fuels are being invested in trillions of dollars. And that way you're expanding the coverage of the fossil fuel. Because banks pour in the money, trillions of dollars. If banks stop pouring money, fossil fuel will disappear because we will not survive. And if we decide as individually, you and me, decide to ask the question to bank where we put our money. Ask the question, do you invest in your system, in your entire bank? Do you invest anything which creates global warming? Give me this list where you invest your money, because my money will be invested by you into some company. What does it do with that money? So I'm contributing to this trillions of dollars to make that fossil fuel rush out and make big. So if I withdraw that money, if I choose the bank which doesn't, it shows that it doesn't make any investment in it, those banks will disappear, because this is my money he uses to invest in somebody else. So this is ultimately the responsibility lies on me. So this is the direction that we have to go. The financial system has to be redesigned entirely. And what you mentioned about the hunger and poverty. Hunger and poverty is an artificial thing. Poverty is not created by people. Poor people are not responsible for their poverty. Poverty is created by the system that we built. So if you want to overcome poverty and hunger, you have to redesign the system. If you redesign the system, nobody will be a poor person, because everybody has the ability to take care of himself and herself and also take care of others. That's what the human being is all about. He's big enough to take care of themselves and take care of others. And that's why I said that making money may be happiness, making other people is a super happiness. That's what it's built for. They enjoy that super happiness of changing things, making things happen. But it needs to be redesigned system. That's why I say pandemic is a good opportunity to come back, to make sure we don't go back. We redesign a new system so that we can get to the world that we will have in our mind, in our imagination, to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Ashwini Rajan. She is a senior member of the Student Police Cadet Force, which is a change-making social initiative formed under the leadership of Vijayan sir. She is from Kerala, district in Kerala. Ashwini, are you online?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead with your question, Ashwini.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is, since 1990s, the world has witnessed an increase in inequality across the world. This divide between haves and have-nots has become starker since the pandemic. Can the economic system which created inequalities evolve to become more equitable?
Yeah, pandemic has reminded us all this thing in a more sharper way. We use the word very frequently, inequality, as you have mentioned. And this is a common word used by inequality. I said, when you compare a cow with a horse, you may use the word inequality because they look same, but there's some inequalities there. Or a goat or a cow, there's some inequality there. But when you compare an elephant with a mosquito, you don't use the word inequality. These are completely different things. So what we have in the world is not a comparison between goat and a cow. It's a comparison between a giant of an elephant and a tiny of a mosquito. As I said, 99% of the wealth is in the hands of some few thousand people. That's all. 99% of the entire world's wealth. And you can translate it in the context of India. If you take all the wealth of India in one place, you'll see a handful of people own all the wealth in India. The rest of it, just a tiny fraction of it. So you don't call this inequality when 99% of the population own 1% or less than 1% of the wealth, and the remaining few thousand people owning 99% of the wealth. That's not inequality, that's absurdity. So we are looking at the absurdity of it, but we accept it because that's what our mind has been trained in our school, that this is the way it goes. It's not the way it goes. This is the way you made a mistake in doing so. You created a wrong financial system. You created a wrong legal system, and that's why it happened. So we have to address that. We can go wishy-washy, okay, what can I do? I'm happy, I got a job. Job is not the ultimate of human life. Human life is so much bigger for everyone, the child on the street, he or she has the same opportunity to contribute and make things happen. So that's the world that we have to create. Rather than talk about inequality, we just abandon that absurdity and create the new reality where human beings can express themselves in their own way as they were destined to be as entrepreneurs. I said, human beings are born as entrepreneurs. When we are born in Africa, thousands of years that we spend in Africa as hunters and gatherers. And we were always been hunters and gatherers, thousands of years. We were never working for anybody. And then after hunters and gatherers, we settled down, we became farmers. We are still entrepreneurs. We are doing our own thing. Only very recently after that, we invented this idea of working for somebody else. And that's the wrong direction we took and destroyed ourselves completely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. There is one more question. Time allows, if you can take that question. This final question is from Dr. Saji Kavil. He's a research fellow in applied economics from JNU, but unfortunately, he is down with COVID, so he is not able to.
Sorry to hear that.
So I'll take that. Shall I read out the question that he has submitted?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, his question was, during COVID, institutional support to the agrarian community almost stopped. Farmers relied heavily on moneylenders, often falling into debt traps. In this new normal, what will be the changing role of the public institutions, both financial and non-financial, in strengthening the agrarian economies of developing countries like India and Bangladesh?
Yeah, you see, it's not the question of giving favor to agrarian economy or people. The financial system should be working for everybody. This is the nature of the system itself, that it should be working with everybody, for the women, for young people to become entrepreneurs, women to become entrepreneurs. If we accept that human beings are entrepreneurs, and in agriculture is a part of that entrepreneurship, I do my own thing. I am not looking for a job with somebody else. So the financial system should be ready for it. The financial system defines who I should be, what I could be, and what I cannot be. No financial institution today will put in 1 rupee as an investment to an unemployed young person to become an entrepreneur, not a penny. That's why we created the whole idea of loan sharks. Loan sharks got in because financial system left a huge vacuum. But people need money. So the money is the oxygen of entrepreneurship. If you want to get things done, if you want to do something, you need money. So if you don't get the money from the proper institutions, you go to somebody who will lend you money at exorbitant conditions and kind of thing. That's a loan shark. I know for sure I'll destroy myself, but to save myself for the moment, I go and do it. And once I get involved with the loan shark, I'm done. I never can get out of it. That's a system. That's called loan sharking. Because once you're touched by loan shark, your life is finished. Because they'll keep on squeezing. You can't get out of it. Why? They said it cannot be done. That's why we created microcredit. We've shown repeatedly it can be done, even with the poorest women in the remotest place. It can be done. And all over India is doing that. But some of these microcredit now turning into loan sharks themselves. That's the problem. Because the moment you bring the profit maximizing idea into the microcredit, then you move into the loan shark direction. I said we created microcredit as a social business, as a non-dividend business. We don't want to take money from the microcredit program. Grameen Bank is a social business. It's not a business to make money for us who designed it and created it and so on. So that's not it. So social business has new class of banking should be created. Social business microcredit banks. That's the kind of banking. So it's all about designing things. If you design things right, you get the result right. You design things wrong, you got everything wrong. And that's what we're complaining about. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. We are about to wind up this amazing session.
Thank you.
So we have been getting a lot of questions, but unfortunately, we cannot take all of them inside the show as Professor Yunus has other engagements lined up for
Yes,
today.
indeed.
But the listeners can send their questions based on Professor Yunus' talk today to the email ID postpostglobal@gmail.com, and we shall forward them to the office of Professor Yunus. The best questions can expect interesting prizes too. Now I invite Engineer Anandamani, a co-committee member of Mission Better Tomorrow, whose relentless efforts connected Mission Better Tomorrow to Professor Mohammad Yunus. He will formally wind up the session. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Thank you.
Respected Police IG, Sri P. Vijayan, IPS, Honorable Speaker, Professor Mohammad Yunus, valuable participants across the globe, and my team at Mission Better Tomorrow. I am here with the greatest honor, the honor of a lifetime, and with that comes the great responsibility to thank Professor Mohammad Yunus by delivering the vote of thanks today on this unique occasion. Mission Better Tomorrow is truly blessed by the gracious presence of our honorable and admired speaker, Professor Yunus, and we had an amazing time hearing him with a lot of takeaways. Sir, we at Mission Better Tomorrow have always looked up to you, your life and your journey, and you have always been a source of inspiration to us. At the forefront of your vision lay your unrelenting quest to ensure that millions of marginalized people across the country are benefited by the financial inclusion. Your unparalleled initiatives have translated the dreams of many into a productive reality. Your foresight, leadership, and determination has propelled Yunus Center to attain many milestones, but most importantly, your philanthropic pursuits continue to comfort the lives of countless people across various sections of the society, as mentioned. Your initiatives have seemingly assured a panicked world, and in fact, that was the same genesis with which POS Global Talk series was initiated by Sri P. Vijayan, IPS. This occasion has been something special for Mission Better Tomorrow, as you are the truly global speaker of international repute Mission Better Tomorrow has had since the launch of its Global Talk series. Professor Yunus, your words and your positive energy and the radiant smile will always be remembered with love and respect by all of us. The interesting questions posed itself shows that your thoughtful expressions have resonated well with the audience. I'm sure that this talk has turned out to be a glittering function by a digital presence, and it is mainly because and truly because of my friend, Mr. Paul Thomas of ISAF Small Finance Bank, who made this event possible for us by connecting us to you. Mr. Paul, my sincere thanks to you too. Mr. Shabir Ahmed and Mr. Tanbirul Islam, it was always a pleasure to associate with you all, and thank you very much for the support you all extended, for the commendable contribution you both made in bringing this to a grand success. When I speak on behalf of everybody representing Mission Better Tomorrow, I wish to congratulate and express my grateful thanks and heartfelt gratitude to those men and women in Mission Better Tomorrow for how they were able to carry out their work and duty to make this event a grand possibility in the best possible manner by fine-tuning the sequence of events at each and every point. Sir, Professor Yunus, we at Mission Better Tomorrow is ever grateful to you, and we are extremely delighted. And I, on behalf of each one of us at Mission Better Tomorrow, and on behalf of the entire audience viewing this talk across the world, express our profuse thanks for accepting our invitation and addressing us. And a huge big thank you to each one of the audience for this valuable presence and staying throughout. With these words, before winding up my vote of thanks, I wish to mention that normally we end up with the Indian national anthem, but today, as a honor to you, sir, Professor Yunus, we are airing the national anthem of Bangladesh too, along with the Indian national anthem, and let this be a token of dedication for strengthening the mutual bond between Mission Better Tomorrow and Yunus Center. Thanking each one of you once more. Please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विन्ध्य हिमाचल यमुना गङ्गा उच्चल जलधि तरङ्गा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे আমার সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ চিরদিন তোমার আকাশ তোমার বাতাস আমার প্রাণে ওমা আমার প্রাণে বাজায় বাঁশি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি ওমা ফাগুনে তো রামের বনে প্রাণে পাগল করে মনে হায় হায় রে ওমা ফাগুনে তো আমের বনে প্রাণে পাগল করে ওমা ঘ্রাণে তোর ভরা থেকে কি দেখেছি আমি কি দেখেছি মধুর হাসি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি কি শোভা কি ছায়া গো কি স্নেহ কি মায়া গো কি আঁচল বিছায়েছ বটে মূলে নদী কুলে কুলে মাতর মুখের বাণী আমার কানে লাগে সুধার মতো মরি হায় হায় রে মাতর মুখের বাণী আমার কানে লাগে সুধার মতো মাতর বদর খানি মলিন হলে আমি নয়ন ওমা আমি নয়ন জলে ভাসি সোনার বাংলা আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি